Rolling blackouts have led to a spike in short-term insurance claims. Power surges easily damage or completely destroy plugged-in electronics, and in the current economic climate, they're not easy to replace. Head of Dialdirect Insurance, Anneli Retief, joins me to discuss this surge in claims and how they're dealing with it. She joins me here in Johannesburg. Anneli, thank you so much for your time. So tell me first, what kind of spike have you seen in insurance claims related specifically to load shedding?
Good evening. Yes, you are 100% correct. There has been a massive spike that we've picked up. So firstly, I think the biggest risk that we all are aware of is your electronic equipment and your appliances due to power surges. So in that respect, we've actually, over the last 4 years, we've seen those claims double from 20% of our home content claims to now making up around 44% of our home content claims. So that certainly is a big risk, and not all people are insured. So for the lucky ones who do have the right insurance product in place, they are able to claim. Otherwise you face the risk of losing or carrying that damage yourself. Other type of claims that we also have seen is accidents. So you can imagine with traffic lights being out, the streets being quite dark, we see that up by 3.2%. The accidents due to power outages, and then over a weekend as much as up by 8%. So that's a massive risk again to lives and to property. And then also on burglaries. So due to people not having their security in place, again we see a rise of 5.2% during the week, and over weekends a rise of 13.5% in burglaries.
That's massive, and that's mostly on the residential side. But of course, you're also ideally placed to understand the actual infrastructure damage and asset losses that businesses especially are suffering. Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have seen some similar trends from a business perspective. I think business continuity is a massive risk, loss to income, directly affecting employees that work for those small businesses. As we all know, they carry our economy. The commercial risk is massive for the country.
Talk to us about the impact on insurance companies. I mean, you guys, obviously, you agree to pay out, but there's obviously risk valuations in place to say that, when your risk as an insurer increases and what that does to the business of insurance. Exactly, and it all comes down to our ability to predict what's going to happen, right? Which is often quite tricky. So we basically have to keep our fingers on the pulse. We have to always create products, that are relevant, because we also exist to pay our claims. We're there to protect the assets. So we have to make sure that our products are relevant. So there's no point in us just removing cover when it becomes too costly, because we also want to make sure that it is relevant for our consumers. But we have to estimate that risk, and we also have to make sure that we inform people to also protect their assets, because as a first prize, you also want to mitigate that risk or that loss. So informing people about what they can do to prevent loss, we play a massive role there, an education role, and then ultimately when they do suffer a role, we want to be there and we want to support them. So this is a situation very few people have been able to prepare for in many ways. It's not something that's new, but with financial pressures increasing on families, the options to increase insurance aren't always available. So how do you talk to your customers about the kind of things that you can pay out, or that you will pay out for, and the kinds of claims that you are not able to cover?
Yes, and I think, insurance it's part of financial education, right? So it's very, very important for people to engage quite actively with us, and we do encourage our customers to do that. Because first of all, you want to make sure that you've got the right cover in place for your very specific needs. So you don't want to be paying for cover that you don't need and wasting money. So we play an important role from a financial education perspective in engaging with our customers, understanding exactly what their needs are, making sure that they have the right cover in place
place, and cover that will be useful to them and protect them where it really hurts most. So in many respects, I do understand that there is a cost to insurance, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be left without insurance and suffer a massive loss, massive vehicle accident, or a burglary at your house, and having no means to restore yourself back to your previous financial situation. So in that respect, it's very important to see where your biggest risks are and to get proper financial advice and engage with your insurer and understand what you are covered for.
So you mentioned there an increase in motor vehicle accidents as a result of traffic lights not working. Interestingly, we had an interview just in this past week with the JMPD, and they were saying that they are going to be removing ordinary South African citizens who are trying to direct traffic at traffic lights that are not working because of load shedding, because they're not licensed or trained to do that kind of intense traffic directing, especially at multiple intersections where there's so many different turning lanes. So in a situation where a vehicle is in an accident because they're being, the driver is being directed by someone who is not regulated or authorized by the JMPD to do that traffic directing, what are insurance companies going to say about that claim? Is that likely to be paid out or refused?
No, it's likely to be paid out. I mean, that's exactly why insurance exists, right, is to support you in the case of an accident. And of course, every situation will be looked at on merit, and the contract is always considered. But in most situations, the customer should definitely be protected in that case.
Great. Thank you so much. That was the head of Dialdirect Insurance, Anneli Retief, speaking to us about the importance of insurance during a time when so many electrical appliances are being damaged or completely destroyed by load shedding.